What's going on, guys? Welcome back into the channel. Today we have something a little bit different for you guys as the RFL season is getting closer and closer. Season 6 of the RFL. We're going to be bringing you guys in for a open training camp session here with the London Bulldogs. Now, I wanted to start this stream early. The training camp session will actually start at roughly 5 o'clock, but I wanted to start this stream early so that I could go ahead, for those of you on my channel that are not aware of what the RFL is, give you guys some information on the RFL and walk you through some of those things before we actually get into this training camp session. So first things first, what is the RFL? The RFL stands for the Relocation Football League, which is essentially all 32 teams in a franchise file have been relocated, and this has been going on for 5 seasons now. They also have a college series to go along with it that feed prospects into the RFL. And like I said, it is the Relocation Football League, so all 32 teams have been relocated, for those of you that are not aware. And it is a simulation-style football league, so we are not actually user-controlling the games. We are not actually playing the games. We have coaches for these teams, and we coach them and set up their game plans that make the decisions for the team, sign the players, trade players, all of those different things. And we let the games simulate broadcast style, with most of them, or a good portion of them, being announced to you guys. And so you guys can see some good simulation football-style action. If you guys haven't seen any of that, make sure you guys go to the Relocation Football League YouTube channel and their Instagram and Twitter accounts, all their social media, and take a look at what they have to offer. There's some really good games. Obviously, by the title of this video and the description of this video, I am coaching the London Bulldogs. I took over for them in week 3 of last season, and I'll be looking to coach the London Bulldogs again this season. Like I said, we're going to be starting the actual training camp session at around 5 o'clock. So with that being said, I have a couple of things to set up here and send out notifications to the RFL and things like that. So if you guys don't mind waiting patiently for that, we're going to be essentially doing on my schedule here for this, we're going to be doing what I call a meet the team session, where I'm going to run through the roster for 10 to 20 minutes, depending on how long it takes. We're going to look at all the positions, maybe break down a couple position battles for you guys to pay attention to. And we're going to move on from that. We're going to do what I call the ladder. So we're going to go into the actual training mode, and we're going to be running a essentially training camp style mode here, where we do what I call the ladder. We're going to move in from the 50-yard line progressively towards the goal line. That's what the ladder is. We're going to be moving the ball about 10 yards and running plays from different distances to the goal line. Then we're going to be doing a goal line session for about 10 minutes. We will be doing a field goal session where we try to test out the limits of our kicker. And then we're going to be doing a Q&A section after that. You guys can leave your comments as we go throughout this stream. We can feel free to have a back and forth on that, but you don't necessarily have to comment until the Q&A session. That's when I'll be strictly answering questions for you guys that you guys might have about the team. With that being said, I'm going to pull up the stream on my phone. That way I can actually send out the links and everything, and then I can actually view your questions on top of that. Alright, make sure my volume's off, and we'll go ahead and send this out to the RFL. And if you guys aren't a part of the RFL already, you can submit a player to enter the college series and have your player grow through the college series and then potentially get drafted into the RFL. If you guys might have seen some of my social media posts, or I retweeted some of the London Bulldogs social media posts, make sure you guys follow those accounts as well if you're interested at all in seeing what I'm doing with the RFL and what the RFL has going on. But I submitted a player before I became a coach, and he actually broke the tackle record in the college series and won best linebacker. So he will likely go on to be drafted in the RFL. It's a really cool process. You guys can submit a player for $5, see them play throughout the college series, potentially go on to have an RFL career. It's very interesting, and then you can also submit to become a coach during the off season, I believe. So certainly a couple of different interesting ways that you guys can enjoy the RFL, and you don't even have to necessarily do those things, because they have a Discord, they have a fan zone. You can get into that Discord and discuss games, discuss all types of different things, and just have a good time. It's a really good community. And Mitchie did post the link, so that's good. And then that's pretty much all I got going. Let me go ahead and just legitimately pull up the stream so I can see your questions as you guys go. Shout out to Mitchie for being in the chat and already being on top of things. I appreciate you. Shout out to Amir Williams for being here. And CE. And I think with that being said, we can actually probably go ahead and just roll into the team and roll into a couple of discussion points before we necessarily look straight up at the roster. Shout out to Chris Polk for joining in. All right, so let's talk about a couple things regarding the team. So to start very early on, you know, I took over in week 3 of the prior season, and I made some changes with the team. The London Bulldogs have been a team that have been struggling for a while. They made the playoffs season 1, and they actually went on to win the first ever Reload Bowl with quarterback Timmy Merritt, and they have failed to get back to the playoffs since then. So I took over the London Bulldogs with essentially the first goal in a series of goals of taking this team to another playoff run. Ultimately, we're seeking championships, but it is worth noting that the first goal in that series is getting this team to the playoffs. I think that's a very important step to take with this team, and you know, that's what we're looking for first and foremost. We're trying to get Timmy Merritt back to the playoffs, and he has a fantastic supporting cast here. Now, we did make multiple changes coming into the team from last season and taking over the team. We moved some offensive linemen around to better utilize their talents. We did not have to do a whole lot in terms of the supporting cast for Timmy Merritt because we already have great players around him at the skill positions, wide receiver, halfback, you know, tight end. We already had some good players, but you know, I'll address some of those things as we actually really dive into the roster here in a moment. But last season we converted our team from a 4-3 defense to a 3-4 defense, mainly because of the fact that we just didn't have the right talent to utilize a 4-3 defense, in my opinion. And we weren't really effective in running a 4-3 defense whenever I took over. And so we transitioned the team pretty quickly to a 3-4 defense, and we got some pretty good results out of transitioning the team to a 3-4 defense. However, that was not the ideal defense to be running with this team, and with the moves that we made in the offseason in terms of bringing in Drew Brewer, it makes sense for us to transition back to a 4-3 defense. So that's what we're going to be attempting to do here early in the offseason. I've been doing a lot of game planning and scrimmaging and training and practicing, and we found some pretty good schemes to utilize for this team to hopefully put them in a position for success. And one of the cornerstones of the change for this team is that we drafted Drew Brewer with the first overall pick. And Drew Brewer is a 4-3 defensive end. He's a pass rusher. He's looking for those one-on-one matchups, and it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to utilize him as a 3-4 outside linebacker. We could develop him into that, but straight off the bat, it makes the most sense to plug him in as a 4-3 defensive end and then build around him with great defensive tackle like Brodine here on the D-line and things like that. We have the supporting cast to build in that direction. So that's kind of the main point of what we're doing with the team, early on here anyway. And let's go ahead and actually start to dive into the roster here and take a look at maybe some of the position battles that could potentially be going on with this team. So first things first, at the quarterback position, we have Timmy Merritt, who has been around for 5 seasons. We did sign him to another long-term contract at the end of last season. So Timmy Merritt is your quarterback to know if you are not familiar with the RFL or the London Bulldogs. He's a player that has been inconsistent at points in time in his career, but we're looking to bolster him. We're looking to build around him and continue to try to seek success with him. We're not looking to move on from Timmy Merritt at this point. We do have a very exciting backup quarterback in Dre Lawson. In the scrimmages and practices and things that we've run so far, Dre Lawson has had some amount of success, and he is a very athletic type of quarterback and a very different type of quarterback from Timmy Merritt. So this is a player that I want you guys to keep in mind long term for this team. If Timmy Merritt, for some reason, if we were to end up parting ways with him a few years down the line, it could be very possible that Dre Lawson could be the player to take over for him. Not much to see there, though, because Timmy Merritt is the obvious starter at that position. In the offseason, we brought in Vic Cage, who that name is forbidden by Madden, so now Vic Rage, and we brought him in to essentially be our third down running back role, and we're going to have a pretty nice two-headed monster at running back here. Now, these players are going to be competing with each other for touches. Matt Wheaton had a very good rookie campaign last season, but Matt Wheaton is the #1 running back as of right now. Vic Rage is going to get a lot of the third down reps. He's going to get a lot of kick returning reps. As you guys can see, he's got very good athleticism with 98 speed, 99 agility, 99 change of direction. He has a lot to offer, and you guys should see a lot of him in the offense this year, and he is certainly a player to look out for. Now, he may steal reps away from Matt Wheaton, but Matt Wheaton hasn't developed to the point yet, I think, where he is, effective out of the shotgun formations and things like that, and so Vic Rage is going to be getting that role to start early on, but this is a position battle to watch. Not only do we have these two guys that are young and vying for, reps, but we also have Brandon Smithson, who got some reps towards the end of last season and proved to be very effective, and we brought in rookie Christian Nash, who is also a very athletic running back and has the potential to fight for reps in this offense. Moving on to the fullback position, there's not much to note. We brought in young Ashley Denard here at the fullback spot, and in some of our offensive testing, he has gotten a few runs, and he can be a pretty effective runner if given the opportunity to. Moving on to the wide receiver position, there's not a lot to note here other than potentially our lack of depth at the wide receiver position. We have two veteran wide receivers who are going to be here for the long haul in Stanley Whitehead and Saul Leckie, who over the years have proven to be very, very good wide receivers. We have no complaints, and Stanley Whitehead was one of the top wide receivers in the RFL this season. He played very well, and we look to continue to see that out of them. But we are looking for Anthony Connell to take over the third wide receiver spot and really step up, and he looks to have a lot of potential to do so. We've seen a lot of highlights from him, in our scrimmaging and things like that, and so I think Anthony Connell is another note or another player to keep a note of and remember his name for the season, because we're hoping that he breaks out in a couple different ways. But we do have some young speedsters below him, but players that we wouldn't necessarily trust to take on that role yet. So we are a little bit thin at the wide receiver position, but we're looking for competition for Anthony Connell. We're looking for him to try to take over and get some reps from these starting players. Moving on to the tight end position, we have established starters in guys like Ben Hartman and Thomas McDonald, but Reggie Streeter, we drafted with our third first-round pick this year, looks to potentially take reps away from both of those guys. Right now, we're testing him out with the starting offense to see what he can do and what he can offer to this offense, but there is potential for Ben Hartman to win that job, and there's potential for Thomas McDonald to win this job. This is a position battle to watch, because these three guys all have significant upside and things to offer. Obviously, Thomas McDonald with his 90 speed, Reggie Streeter with just an all-around balanced type of player that can do just about anything you want him to, and Ben Hartman, kind of the wily veteran that comes down with the ball when it's actually thrown his way. In terms of the offensive line, we don't have a lot in terms of position battles, because we have cemented starters at most of these positions, with Jake Moffitt at left tackle. At center, we have Richard Porter, veteran offensive lineman. Right guard, young Lee Corona, and right tackle, young Jason McBride. So we have cemented starters at those positions, but I would look for a position battle at left guard, because we have the young star Bronson Gray, who is potentially going to be the starter at this spot, but we have other players that could certainly vie for that position, with Crosby Edens being brought in the offseason, as well as other guys like Shamir Burns and Cole Nickerson and even Theodore Rollins, who are all around that same capability level that could potentially play that position. And so we're going to be looking for who can play the left guard spot for us to take over on the offensive line. That's an important battle for us, because that's one of our only holes on the offensive line, and we are going to be looking to fill it. Now, the left end spot, the left pass rusher spot, this one's an obvious one. Drew Brewer, there's no competition here, and everybody move out of his way, because he's getting the starting reps day one, and we're going to be looking to utilize him in many different ways on this defense and try to get him into the quarterback's face, into the backfield, and try to get him as disruptive as possible. Moving on to the right end position, this position is up in the air, and this position could potentially be taken by any of like 4 or 5 different players. We have the young player Willis Savage, who has potential at the right end spot to be a complement to Drew Brewer, but Riley Draft was kind of a player that came on for us last season, a free agency acquisition with a lot of athletic upside at 87 speed and 87 acceleration. We look for Riley Draft to potentially take over this spot, but we're not exactly sure what's going to happen with this other DN spot. We also have guys like Al Smalls that we brought in, a big guy at 6'10", 270 that could be more of a run stopper at that position, or he could develop into a pass rusher, and we'll see. But this right end position is up for grabs at the current moment, and that is a position battle to watch. At D tackle, we'll be starting Jack Brodine and Tyler Keltner. We will be looking to add some depth in free agency once that opens up for the RFL, just to add some depth at the D tackle position, because we are running a 4-3 this year, and we don't have, I don't think, enough big bodies to kind of fill in at the D tackle spot, and that's somewhere where we're a little bit thin. At left outside linebacker, the entire linebacking core is up for grabs at the moment. This is where the biggest position battles are, because we brought in a lot of talented players at the linebacker position. So starting at the left outside linebacker spot, we have incumbent starter Duncan Bain, who is not only an athlete, but a very good linebacker in his own right. There's not too much else to say other than he is an experienced veteran and he's very good at what he does. And we brought in guys like Patrick Shivers to give him some competition. A 92 speed linebacker, 75 overall, 23 years old, very young, very athletic, has a ton of upside, and Patrick Shivers has shown flashes of potential star ability in these scrimmages and practices and training camp. And so Patrick Shivers is looking to take over this left outside linebacker spot and maybe even compete as a middle linebacker. At the right outside linebacker spot, we have veteran Daniel Horton at an 82 overall, obviously looking to get reps here and prove himself, coming over from the Bisons, I believe it was, in the offseason. And then we have veteran Sherman Foreman, who looks to be another player that could certainly come in and vie for starting reps if he just, if the other players don't play well. Sherman Foreman is an experienced veteran that knows how to get it done and can take over at that position. And in the middle linebacker spot, we have Shane Masters, who, obviously had a fantastic rookie season last year, I don't know if I would necessarily say fantastic compared to everybody else, but he had a very, very good season, Shane Masters did. We're looking to build upon Shane Masters as a linebacker no matter which spot he starts at. He is going to be taking one of these 3 linebacker spots. It's just up in the air where he's going to play, because he's a little bit more on the slow side, a little bit more of a run-stopping type of player. And then a player that I am really excited for, Ronnie Santiago, who has made many plays for us in the simulations and practices and training camp, as I say that over and over again. Ronnie Santiago plays fantastic. We're hoping that will carry over to the RFL gameplay. We do not know, but we will be testing him out heavily to see what Ronnie Santiago can do. Number 44, Ronnie Santiago out of Boston College. The defensive back positions are also a bit of a position battle at the moment. We have the veteran Brandon Bowen, who has played very well in his tenure here, looking to retain his starting spot, but we have young guys like Shaquille Tiller, who was drafted with a first-round pick, 11th overall, I believe it was, looking to take over as the number 1 corner on this team, and he will be one of the starters. We are also looking at young Isaac Lockhart, who is a physical freak, an absolute monster that has made plenty of plays for us in training camp, looking to take a starting spot as well. We do have veteran Ronell Crosby, who may be playing a little bit of corner, a little bit of safety. He can do it all. He's kind of transitioned back and forth at a couple different points throughout his career. He'll be looking to fill in at whatever position is demanded at that point in time. We also have athletes like Simon Mulholland, who is looking to earn a starting spot, a little bit of a lower overall in comparison to the other players, but a player that I want you guys to keep in mind, because this guy, when he gets his shots, he has been pretty good, and he has the potential to work in with this defense. And so there's a lot of names to know here at the defensive, cornerback position alone, but the other defensive back positions as well. So keep in mind Simon Mulholland, Isaac Lockhart, Ronell Crosby, Shaquille Tiller, and Brandon Bowen, because you could see all of them this season in significant playing time. At the free safety position, we have Kasim Addison, who's coming in. Kasim Addison is a pretty good veteran. He does his job pretty well. He's just a little bit less athletic than most of the other defensive backs we have around him, so we have a pretty good supporting cast to him, but he's kind of the field general of this secondary. He does a very good job in zone coverage most of the time, and he's looking to be the starter right now, backed up by Blair Reid, who also has star potential, looking to potentially fight for that spot. I mean, Blair Reid absolutely has the ability to potentially unseat Kasim Addison as the starting free safety, but that has yet to be determined. And then at the free safety spot, we have Ike Page, who, was probably our biggest breakout star last season, played absolutely phenomenally, and we're looking for him to take another step forward in year 2. And Algernon LaShore is looking to potentially vie for that free safety spot, as well as maybe take some reps away from Ike Page, depending on what we do in this defense. And then at the kicker spot, we actually did return Graham McLeod from last season, so this was actually a big I don't want to say a big re-sign for us, because there was a point in time where Graham McLeod was going to test free agency, and then he ended up signing a contract with us. But Graham McLeod, at one point last season, I think up till about the 3-quarter mark, was the best kicker in the ARC, kicking long balls and everything. He hit a string of like rain games and stuff like that, which caused him to be a little bit less accurate and things like that, and so he kind of fell off a little bit towards the end of the season. But nonetheless, a very good kicker with a big leg, and we're looking for a good season out of Graham McLeod. Hopefully we won't have to utilize him as much as we did last season, because I think last season we kicked a little too many field goals for my liking. I'd like to be in the end zone more than we're utilizing Graham McLeod. With that being said, Chandler Overton, actually a player that I'm really excited for this season. I hope that he plays as well as he did last year, but Chandler Overton, I know I'm getting excited about a punter, but this guy was like the master of coffin corner punts last season, set up our team for so many safety situations, and basically got us points on the board because of his great punts and basically downing opposing teams within the 5-yard line. And I'm not even going to say the 5-yard line, within like the 3 or 2-yard line on so many occasions. Chandler Overton was great for us last season, and we're looking to get that same type of production out of him, because if our defense is anywhere near as good, if not better than last season, then that's a major advantage to have in our punter. With that being said, there's not much else to discuss in terms of the team, so we can go ahead and actually jump into a practice session here or training session here, and get you guys some action, and maybe a little bit extra action, because we're starting this up early. Let's go ahead to free practice, and it will take me a moment to actually get everything set up. Just going to call normal practice mode, and then we are going to switch it to broadcast style. That way you guys can actually see everything that's going on. Alright, we are here at the London Bulldogs practice facility. Let's go ahead and switch a couple settings around. That way we can get this going the way that we need it to. So, visual feedback, we're going to have to switch this to broadcast style. And then we are going to flip sides. We're just going to call a nice little halfback dive real quick to get this moving into the simulation portion. Alright, now we should be good to go. I might want to respot the ball real quick. Is it going to let me from here? No, I'm going to have to actually get into a play. Alright, so we're going to just call random plays from the defensive and offensive perspective and see what they can do. After this play, we're going to go ahead and respot the ball to the 50-yard line so you guys can see more of what we have going on. Alright, right here, respot the ball. Back to about the 50. Perfect. You guys are going to see a lot of Matt Wheaton here early on, I think, with some of the schemes that we have. You're going to see a lot of early down handoffs to Matt Wheaton, as you guys can see there. Kind of a bad defensive call against that offense, but Matt Wheaton got a lot of yardage. You guys are going to see a lot of Reggie Streeter, hopefully a lot of Reggie Streeter doing things like that, picking up 5 to 10 yards per play. This offense has a lot of big play capability. If Timmy Merritt is able to get rid of the ball and get it into his receiver's hands, you guys can see there he's attempting to target Vic Rage on the outside, and you guys will probably see quite a bit of that this season as well, because Vic Rage has been a player that when he gets the opportunity and he gets the ball in his hands, I mean, that 98 speed allows him to get past the defense pretty easily. Timmy Merritt going to drop back to pass and unload it to Stanley Whitehead. Stanley Whitehead has been a consistent performer for us in practice, catching a lot of deep balls. You know, we really need Anthony Connell to emerge as a legitimate receiving threat. There you guys can see Stanley Whitehead again getting open in the middle of the field. We really need Anthony Connell to emerge as a legit receiving threat, and some of those tight ends as well, to free up the wide receivers on the outside, because we don't want defenses to be able to strictly commit to our 2 top targets on the outside in Leckie and Whitehead. You know, we want to be able to spread the ball around. As you guys can see, Matt Wheaton here looking even better than he did last year. I mean, most of the runs in the schemes and playbooks that we have going, he's been getting, you know, an average of, I'd say, 5 to 6 yards per carry. There are obviously opportunities where the defense has been able to stop him, but the offensive scheme has been great. And there you guys can see Drew Brewer, the #1 overall pick, coming in for a sack. He's been doing a ton of that, getting pressure on the quarterback. He's hopefully going to be unstoppable this season. A nice tight end screen to Reggie Streeter, and Reggie Streeter gets a ton of yards on that play. You guys can see the rookies having a big impact here early. Reggie Streeter, Drew Brewer, Vic Cage, not a rookie, but an addition to the team. Timmy Merritt loading up to go deep, and he finds Reggie Streeter again. I'm actually surprised that he's finding Reggie Streeter as much as he is, because in prior tests he's been targeting Saul Leckie a lot. Saul Leckie been a major contributor in prior seasons, and obviously looking to continue that production as we move forward. Play action play, looking to not do too many play action plays this year. We kind of identified that as one of the weaknesses early on last season. We did a lot of play action, but there you guys can see him passing to the fullback Denard. As I mentioned, we have threats at every position on the field this year. Denard actually, you know, a pretty significant threat at that fullback spot. Faster than most fullbacks, athletic, able to catch the ball. Denard is actually kind of a player to watch that can be utilized pretty well out of this offense. There you guys can see another sack. Looks like Shane Masters comes in with a free blitz. I may have to change my headset battery here. Apparently I didn't come prepared, guys. We'll go ahead here in a couple minutes. There you guys can see another sack. Got a good sack there by Jack Brodine. Play action there, getting us sacked one more time. I'm going to go ahead and change out my mic battery, and then we'll move up the ball to about the 40-yard line. Figures I'd miss the really nice run there by Matt Wheaton. Let's go ahead and move the ball up here at the end of this play. See what happens whenever we get a little bit closer to the end zone. Reggie Streeter, a huge focus in this scheme so far. Gonna have to wait a second to respot. Let's go right here, respot. Get the ball up to about the 40-yard line. Matt Wheaton powering forward for a couple yards there. Shivers making that tackle. Another thing to note is that Timmy Merritt has been getting the ball out of his hand pretty quickly this year for the most part, especially when he's back in shotgun. A lot of times, and there's another good run and a stiff arm by Matt Wheaton. Hopefully we see some of that this year. When Timmy Merritt's in the gun, he gets the ball out of his hand quickly. Whenever he does too much play action, that kind of hurts us, so we're certainly looking to limit the amount of play action that we run this year. I think as a whole, in simulation football, play action type of plays aren't necessarily the most effective. Matt Wheaton getting quite a few runs here early on. Matt Wheaton, Reggie Streeter. Finds Matt Wheaton to the sideline. See, that's kind of the reason that we brought in Vic Rage right there. You guys can see an early example. Matt Wheaton doesn't really have that kind of balance and footwork to necessarily stop and catch the ball on the sideline and things like that. You guys can see that he kind of just, drifted out of bounds on that catch, and Vic Rage is a little bit more agile, a little bit more athletic, and a little bit more able to kind of maintain his body, keep himself in bounds. There we see a nice pass to Wheaton, quick enough to get him into open space. Keep an eye on the time here. We're about 5:20. We'll go ahead and move up the ball again to about the 30-yard line here in a moment. Timmy Merritt actually going with a QB draw. You guys probably won't see a lot of those this season, but he picks up 10. I mean, when he does move, he's got decent speed. He's a scrambler by no means. Unable to get the ball off there. A nice corner blitz by, it looks like, Ronell Crosby. A lot of pitch plays here early on to Wheaton. Not of much effect. We'll definitely be looking and keeping a note of that. Timmy Merritt dumps off to Rage again. Fighting for yardage. Not having a ton of success. Actually, I want to see this play. We actually have a spread out. See who Timmy Merritt targets. There we go, Saul Leckie. We saw a lot of that in previous practices. Saul Leckie, a favorite target, I think, this season of Timmy Merritt. Let's go ahead and respot up to about the 30. As we continue to progress up the ladder. See how our gameplay calls. And Timmy Merritt throws an interception to Shivers. Like I said, you got to watch out for Shivers. That 92 speed, though, I'm surprised he was not able to get past Matt Wheaton there. Matt Wheaton makes the tackle, but Shivers with another nice play. We've seen quite a bit of Shivers and Santiago jumping balls, getting in front of receivers, getting in front of tight ends, and taking those back. We've seen Santiago actually on a couple occasions take them to the house. Something worth noting, that this defense has a lot of athleticism and they are not going to be afraid to jump the ball. Nice play by the defense there. Brodine getting in the backfield and forcing the run play into kind of some traffic. Or it's Keltner, I believe, actually. A lot of traffic here. Defense matching up well against the offense. You guys can kind of see the showcase of the 4-3 defense actually working to effect here. Nobody open. Timmy Merritt going to get sacked again. Shane Masters, his second tackle on the training mode here. Second sack, I should say. I don't know if I said that. Nice catch. Quick pass by Timmy Merritt to Reggie Streeter. Reggie Streeter getting open. Timmy Merritt dumping it off over the middle to Leckie. Leckie getting about 10 yards on that one. Timmy Merritt on the play action pass. Finds a man over the middle again. Leckie, he could have also dumped it down to Streeter. Streeter probably could have picked up about 10 yards on that play. So it's kind of a give or take with the play action in this offense. There's a lot of times where you find men open and Timmy Merritt's going deep. Nobody's going to come up with that one. Good play by Lockhart to knock that ball away. Kasim Addison there to help out. Trap play up the middle. And it looks like Streeter was the one who missed his block on that one. Allowed Matt Wheaton to get tackled down early. Timmy Merritt with the quick pass. And there you guys can see Anthony Connell with his first catch in the practice. Toss play to Matt Wheaton. Matt Wheaton has blockers, does not cut inside of the blockers. We will be working with Matt Wheaton to continue to progress his ball carrier vision this season. Probably could have had a lot more yardage there if he cut inside of his blocks. And Matt Wheaton, can he make it to the house? Stiff arm, reaches for the goal line. Touchdown by Matt Wheaton. What a fantastic run. He was untouched up into the end zone. Ike Page makes a nice attempt to make that tackle, and I didn't click pause to do the replay in time. Anthony Connell gets a ball tossed up to him, unable to come down with the catch, but what a nice run by Wheaton there, and a second effort to get across the goal line. Fantastic. Hoping to see a lot of that this season. Matt Wheaton with the ball again. Let's go ahead and respot it one more time. Getting closer to the goal line where we're going to see a lot more of those plays targeting the end zone. Up to about the 20 here. We're in the red zone now. Matt Wheaton not getting anything on that one. Good play by the defenders. Play action play, good blocking. Finds Salecki. Salecki unable to come down with it. There you guys can see Shaquille Tiller coming up with his first pass breakup. Stretch play to Wheaton. Spins off a tackle, gets about 6 yards on that one. We're going to see a safety blitz here. I don't know if the offensive line's going to be prepared. They are going to run a run against it, pick up about a yard. Lockhart in there on the tackle. Timmy Merritt passes over the middle. Looked like Shaquille Tiller thought he had a chance at an interception, dives and misses it. Leckie comes up with the catch and is tackled up over the 10-yard line. Merritt's getting blitzed, finds a man open in the back of the end zone, and that's what we've been seeing a lot of, guys. Anthony Connell toe tap in the back of the end zone, pretty much wide open. Merritt with a nice job of dropping it in there behind the defenders. Nice broken up pass there by Shane Masters. I feel like we've been saying Shane Masters' name a lot. He's pretty much a verified starter in this defense. It just depends on where we're going to play him any given game. We've been working him in at the right outside linebacker, left outside linebacker, middle linebacker spots, and he's been doing well at all of them. It's just a matter of figuring out who slots in at the other spots along with him. Wheaton with another open run, takes it down to about the 10-yard line. Man, I wish I would have got that replay of that Matt Wheaton run. I'm going to have to go back and clip that. Timmy Merritt somehow misses Hartman on the short throw. I guess he was under pressure, got hit. Took a little too long to set his feet on that one. Gets the ball off in the face of pressure. Anthony Connell's going to come up with, I believe, another touchdown. I don't know if he was short of the goal line there. I don't know what they would have called that in reality, but Anthony Connell with another great reception. Drew Brewer with the pressure. Anthony Connell getting a lot of targets at this point. Let's go ahead and respot the ball up to the 10-yard line and see what this defense, or see what this offense can do, and see if the defense buckles down. About the 9.5 yard line, 9.25 yard line. Timmy Merritt throws the screen pass. I don't know what the heck happened there. It looked like it should have been picked off, but the defender not paying attention. Whitehead does pick up yardage and get to the 1 yard line. Hopefully we don't run too many of those this season. Dumps it down to Vic Rage. Gets it up to the 5 yard line. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys see Vic Rage catch a touchdown here. Nobody open, dumps the ball off, just barely gets it out of his hand. Could have been sacked there by Willis Savage. I'm a little surprised we actually haven't seen Jack Brodine. Did he get a sack? I think he might have gotten a sack a little bit earlier on. Yeah, he did. I was going to say, I'm a little bit surprised we haven't seen him get a sack yet, because he has actually been getting a ton of pressure in prior practices. Running motion here, Jet. Not sure why we're handing it to Whitehead. Whitehead, one of the slower receivers on the team. Not necessarily the best call there. A nice trap play, and Wheaton goes in untouched to the end zone. Good play call by the offense to take advantage of what the defense was showing them. Got about 2 minutes left here. We'll just keep running plays from about the 10-yard line, and then we'll move up to the goal line. We're going to go probably in the goal line session. We're going to start at about the 4 or 5 yard line and then move it in closer, because I want to see, you know, that kind of all can be considered goal line. I mean, realistically, up to the 10-yard line can be considered goal line depending on where the ball is spotted. I guess up to about the 9-yard line. Timmy Merritt finds his man over the middle. Whitehead with another catch. Back corner of the end zone. Beautiful toe tap again. I actually want to see this because I don't know. Is it going to let me replay if I do this? Yeah, okay. Let's go instant replay. Take a look at this one. Anthony Connell, I don't think he's in. I think that might be out. I don't know. Let me look down. Yeah, that toe is on the white line. If he would have just got that a slight second sooner. I mean, he taps that second toe. So very well in game they could call that a touchdown because their out of bounds line isn't very well defined, but nice effort by Connell. Connell, a fantastic target in the red zone. He's not a small wide receiver by any means, and we have a lot of big bodies on this team. When we get down to the red zone, I'm expecting this team to be dangerous because we can put a lot of big bodies on the field between Whitehead, Streeter, Hartman. You know, we should be able to be effective in the red zone compared to last season. Vic Rage actually getting a run there and making nice work of the defense, getting up to about the 4. And as we hit 5:30 here, this will be our last play. He missed Saul Leckie. Saul Leckie had an opportunity there, and probably would have been a touchdown if he hit his target. He was hit as he threw there. Let's go ahead and respot the ball up to about the 4.5 yard line. We're going to call that roughly the start of goal line range. And then we're going to move up to like the legit goal line as we approach the end of the goal line session here. Dumps it off to Wheaton out of the backfield. Unsuccessful. Tackled down for a loss there by Masters. This is where our defense was actually pretty good last season. Our defense was very stout when we got down to the red zone. Dumps it off there to Rage, and you guys can see that ability to just turn it upfield and get the yardage. Rage with a nice touchdown. Nice reception, actually. Timmy Merritt with a quick pass to the back of the end zone, and Saul Leckie's going to come up with that touchdown. Defensive coverage not doing so great here in this opportunity. It's been back and forth all training camp long. We've seen the defense winning those battles. We've seen the receivers winning those battles at times. To me, it just screams that we have great competition and great players on both sides. Timmy Merritt launches one out of the back of the end zone. Nobody open on that one. This team has a ways to go in terms of development. They're not going to be the best team in the league right away, but we are going to be working with these players repetitively. Connell with another nice touchdown in the back corner of the end, not back corner of the end zone, back middle of the end zone. Play action, barely gets the ball off. It's knocked out of his hands. A great play by Tiller there to knock it out of Streeter's hands. Surprised it wasn't intercepted. Tip balls, not often picked off by this defense. Certainly something that we work to improve upon in the offseason. A nice play there by the defense, stuffing the run. We've been working with this defense in their hands. We brought in Shaquille Tiller for the main reason of bringing in players that can actually pick off the ball. A lot of our players don't have the best hands on the defensive side, and we're looking to improve upon that. That's one of our biggest concerns. And being able to compete with the other top teams in the league, we need players that can produce turnovers when the ball is thrown our way. You know, when the ball is thrown to a defensive back, we need to come up with it, and we need to take that back, potentially get some of those defensive touchdowns that help out a lot of the other teams. And Willis Savage actually going to come in for a sack. Made a nice move on Moffitt, the left tackle, and does a good job of getting by him and getting to Merritt for the sack. So Moffitt doing a decent job here. Kind of the first time we've really said his name, making a good play. That was a nice move by Savage there. Hand off to Wheaton, stretch, and he's going to shrug off a tackle and get in there for the end zone. We've been seeing a lot of Matt Wheaton shaking off the first tackle by defenders. I'm curious to see if that's going to translate over to RFL play, playing against, you know, great linebackers and things like that. I'm not sure if it's going to translate 100%, but it shows promise. And Lecky gets another nice touchdown in the back of the end zone there. Certainly, defense needs to tighten up here, and we'll be working on that as we move forward. But nice plays by the offense, and a lot of good things to take away from this offensive session in the goal line already, the red zone goal line. Lecky gets another one in the back. Let's go ahead and respot the ball here after this play. All-out blitz. Merritt somehow gets that ball away. He was getting blitzed by like 4 guys, but actually something that is worth noting is that if Merritt can accurately get rid of the ball when he has this many players bearing down on him this year, I mean, yeah, you can see that he changed his throw at the last second. But if he can get rid of those and maybe find a receiver from time to time, that means he's going to be finding open guys. Because when the defense blitzes this many players, you know that somebody's pretty much going to be open. So that's something worth looking at. And I guess maybe that was a screenplay of some sort because we did let those guys through. But nonetheless, getting hit by that many guys, we need Merritt to be able to get the ball off like that. I'm hoping that that's what we see this season, is a lot of him getting rid of the ball, hopefully not getting rid of the ball poorly and making bad throws when he's getting hit, but getting rid of it and finding targets to keep the offense alive and keep things moving. I think getting sacked too many times last season was also maybe a little bit of the issue for this offense. We're going to go ahead and respot it and get us closer to the goal line. We'll get maybe like close to the 2-3 yard line, and then for the final couple minutes we'll go ahead and get like right up on the goal line. So let's go 2 yard line roughly, see what we can do from here, and then we're going to get straight up on the goal line and see what this offense does. We may have to pick some plays or something like that for the offense. Maybe not. I mean, goal line, you're probably going to see this team run, you know, based on the way simulation football works, you're probably going to see them run a lot of this type of stuff down in the red zone, and calling random plays isn't necessarily going to reflect that. Wheaton with a weird toss play there. I don't know why that's the choice. We're looking to go more with direct plays. You guys can see the offensive line is getting a good push up front. No reason to not just run dive plays and halfback leads and ISOs and traps and stuff that's more up the middle. Great block by Vic Rage there as he springs Timmy Merritt free essentially from the blitzer to find Anthony Connell in the back of the end zone. Play action play one more time. Not seeing anybody free. This is a potential long sack here. He's not going to get rid of that ball. That's going to be a fumble. I don't know who's going to get credit for that sack, whether that's Drew Brewer or Willis Savage. They were both in there on that hit, and somebody forced the ball free. Defense unable to recover that one, though. Defense with some good coverage here on the last few plays. Brodine going to get in there for the sack. Tries to pass it to Whitehead. Lockhart, though, I believe jumped that ball. I don't know if he just got stuck in an animation or what, but it looked like Lockhart was going for the interception there potentially, and that could be a pick six if that's thrown like that in an RFL game. Matt Wheaton with the nice dive up the middle. Hopefully we see more of that, because that's going to be the bread and butter for this offense on short yardage situations like that, and Wheaton can certainly pick those up, and with the offensive line we have, they have no problem getting a push up front most times. And Shivers gets into the backfield for the sack. You can see taking care of Timmy Merritt there, highlighting his 92 speed, getting himself back to the quarterback before he ever has a chance to throw the ball. Another play action pass, and who is that? That's Bowen in there for the sack that time. Matt Wheaton up the middle one more time, doing a fantastic job. Let's go ahead and move the ball up to the inch line, and then at the very end, if we don't see them call any like goal line type of stuff, we'll go ahead and just pick goal line plays for them. Just because, you know, we know that that's what we're going to see. We're going to see goal line stuff in an actual RFL game, so we want to simulate a little bit of that and see what our teams can do on offense and defense. Here we're calling a weak eye or strong eye formation. Tossing the ball to Wheaton. Nice play by Santiago darting in there. We've seen a lot of that from him on run defense, darting in there. Great acceleration by him to come up and make that play. Play action one more time. Is he going to find somebody in the back of the end zone? He's going to find somebody on the edge, and Streeter catches that one for negative yardage. Definitely not looking to call play action in formations on the goal line so much. That results in a lot of negative plays. Looks like it's going to be a run to the right side. Play action. Timmy Merritt runs right into the sack. Kasim Addison that time coming up with the sack. After this play, we'll go ahead and choose a new one. Oh, we'll go ahead and choose a new one here. I want to see how this team does straight up. Let's call goal line. We'll just go 60 base. Just a base goal line formation against a base goal line halfback dive. I want to see which one of these units actually wins this type of a battle. Is it going to be Wheaton or is it going to be the defense? Wait, apparently I picked the wrong play. Or did he audible out of that? I don't know if I picked that play or if he audibled out of that. Formation. Goal line. X is in the middle, right? Formation. Goal line. Oh, okay. See, on the offensive side of the ball, X isn't in the middle. It changed up the lettering. We're going to go triangle. Go halfback dive here. Good push by the offensive line. Wheaton able to walk into the end zone there on that one. Looks like in a base defensive front, our offense is winning this battle. And a nice play there. Good block shed by Keltner, I believe that one was. Yeah, that would have been Keltner. Nice play there again. That one was by Bain. Does a good job of shooting in there. Wheaton a little bit slow to get to the goal line and make a play. Santiago now coming in and making a play. The speed of this defense really showing. Whenever they're able to get off their blocks, they're able to shoot into the backfield. Wheaton dives for the touchdown on that one. The offensive line is getting a good push. It's just a matter of whether or not these defenders are able to get off their blocks and make a play in the backfield. Wheaton winning another one there. I will say that, like I had mentioned, we are going to be looking for some more run stuffers to add to this team for situations like this, goal line situations, short yardage situations. Wheaton doing a nice job. The offense doing a good job in these types of situations. We're going to be moving on to the field goal scenario here in a second. There we go. Another nice stop there by the defense. Let's go ahead and transition over to a field goal situation. We'll choose new play. And we're just going to run field goals at various distances. We're going to try to basically determine what our field goal kicker's range is. Last year, he hit some crazy long field goals, and we're hoping that he can do the same this year. There we go. So we're going to hit square. On the goal line, he should have no problem. We're actually probably going to just back this up 5 yards at a time. I'm curious if he can make them consistently one after another. Let's go ahead and respot the ball, maybe back to about the 10-yard line. We'll give him an opportunity to just keep hitting them one after another and see if he can get a nice streak going here. Puts that one through the uprights. Go ahead and back it up. I want to see more of the kicks from further distances. I did not mean to hit new play. And I hit random play. Great. Got to get out of the habit of hitting random play. All right, let's go ahead and call a couple more field goals and back them up. We're going to back it up here to about the 20. Should have no problems hitting from here. He hasn't missed one yet. That one is straight through the uprights as well. And now we're going to start getting into legitimate field goal territory where we really want to see what McLeod can do. 30-yard line. able to put that one through with quite a bit of leg to spare. We'll give him another 2 chances here from the 30-yard line, and then we'll back it up. That one had even more leg behind it. Great kick. Obviously no weather impacting anything here. I will also be curious to see if anybody gets around for a block or anything like that. Let's go ahead and back it up. He's 3 for 3 from the 30-yard line. We'll go from about the 36 now. And he's good. More than enough leg to put those kicks through. Give him another opportunity or two here. Quite enough leg, I'd say. We might test him out by going from a couple of angles as well once we... Oh, and he doinked one off the uprights finally. His first missed kick, that one goes off the uprights. So actually, you know, I don't know if you guys know anything about kickers, and almost a blocked field goal. It was. I don't know if he got a hand on that or not, or if that disrupted his kick. That's 2 missed kicks in a row from McLeod. One off the upright and one with just not enough leg. I don't know if he got a hand on that or what. Let's go ahead and respot it and go left and right. Let's give him a couple opportunities from both sides. So we're going to go same distance roughly from the left side, the left hash. I know that I'm running a little bit over on the field goal category here, so let's go ahead and give him one on the right hash, and we're going to go ahead and just test him from distance at that point. Back it up to 40-yard line and so on from there. And then we'll get to you guys' Q&A session after that. No problem. I mean, he's hitting these field goals, putting them through. I don't think that one was wide. I think that one went through. Short. McLeod showing a little bit of inconsistency on some of these longer kicks. I'm a little bit surprised that he's missing some of them short. That one's a little bit odd to me. We're going to go right down the middle again from just past the 40-yard line. See what he can do from there. Not enough leg. I think he missed that one to the left. I may be misjudging some of these. There could have been a couple that missed wide left or wide right. Yeah, he's not getting it through on these ones. It looked like he had enough leg to get it through from here, but he's struggling a little bit from this distance. He's yet to put one through from the 40-yard line. Last season, he was able to hit some of these longer field goals, so it looks like our range is going to cap out up closer to like the 36, 37-yard line. He has yet to hit one from 40 here. And if he doesn't hit one within the next couple attempts, I think I'm going to go ahead and move it up and just find where the edge of his range is. There we go. He finally puts one through. He's put a few of those through over time. Let's go ahead and respot it up. I mean, that, you know, if we needed him to come through in a clutch situation and we needed a miracle, we could probably hit one from there and just hope for the best. But let's go ahead and move it up to the 37-yard line. And I'm thinking this is about the edge of his range. This is where he should be able to kind of comfortably make these field goals from. Yeah, see, those are going through. It's not really having much effect on his accuracy or anything like that. So from the 37-yard line is about where we need to get to if we need him to hit a long field goal there. He hits one short. And obviously, if we want to be comfortable with him making a field goal, we'd be looking at about the 30-yard line and in. You can see that his accuracy is affected a little bit more the further out he goes on these. So with that being said, I mean, that's all I wanted to do for practice here today for this training camp session. So I'm going to pull up the chat section and let me know your comments here in the comment section. He wants me to show it from the back camera angle. I apologize that I didn't. I should have been doing that from the beginning. Go ahead and let me know with your comments, guys. What do you guys have for me for this team? Any questions about position battles? Anything about the upcoming season? What do you guys want to know about this team? And hopefully I actually get real-time comments. I'm going to go ahead and shut down the stream on my phone and load it back up just to make sure that I actually get it real-time. So Coach Baker, I see his comment from before, wants to know what are my thoughts on Brewer so far. I think Brewer is everything that he has been hyped up to be. I think that it's very important to note that, you know, you guys only got to see a small glimpse of what he's capable of in this practice session, but outside of this practice session, we've seen as much as Drew Brewer dropping back in coverage and getting interceptions. I mean, this guy makes plays. He knows how to make plays. He has a nose for the ball, and he is always making plays for us, and I'm hoping that that's going to transition into RFL play. One thing that I'll say is that he's got a little bit of a low stamina number, so you know, we're going to have to consider that you know, he might not be in the action on every single play, but we're going to be working on that. We're going to be working on developing him and getting him up as good as he possibly can be, and he's done a lot of work for this team in training camp sessions so far, so I'm looking forward to that as we move along. Let me see if I can scroll through here and find any other comments. And if you guys are just joining late to the channel and you're a subscriber to the channel or whatever, make sure that you guys go back and watch the beginning of this video when we're done, or scroll back to it now and see the beginning of the video, because of the fact that you know, I kind of detailed for people on my channel what the RFL is, what we're all about, you know, what I have to do with the RFL, and you know, make sure you guys go check out the RFL on their social media pages, check them out on YouTube. At the very least, go check out a broadcast game, you know, go watch one of the bowl games that they just streamed from the RFL College series. Lots of great content. You guys can get involved in multiple different ways, from becoming a player to becoming a coach to just becoming a fan and joining up in the Discords and things like that, to be able to you know, get involved with the RFL. It's a great community. Laquavius Machiavelli wanted to know if Drew Brewer is an X Factor already. Yes, he's one of the few players from the draft class that actually came in with X Factor. Fantastic player. And actually, if we look at our rookies, Drew Brewer has X Factor, Shaquille Tiller has Superstar, and then our tight end Reggie Streeter has Star. Yeah, on the naming thing with Vic Rage, for whatever reason, the Madden gods don't like Vic Cage, so we had to go with Vic Rage for this season. I don't know if they're going to change that or not. They've consistently updated things throughout the season, but I mean, heck, my name, Jacob Reid, just got banned on EA. I don't know why. I popped on one day, it said it changed my name on things, you know, changed my player's name and whatnot because it was offensive, so nothing I can do about that, nothing we can do about that. We just have to make do with what we're given, and that's pretty much all there is to that. Not seeing a whole lot else in terms of questions here. Shout out to everybody that popped into the chat. Shout out to Smitty for joining. Shout out to Drew Brewer for showing up. Coach Baker. Various other players, various other people in here. Lots of guys from the RFL community. Hopefully we can get guys off my channel into the RFL community. Like I said, there's like 4,500 people on my channel. If even just a few of them, you know, got over to the RFL and hyped things up and got involved, you guys can make a big difference and just continue to grow the league, because that's what we're looking to do. Mitchie wants to know my thoughts on practice overall. What I will say is that I think the defense underperformed in this practice, and I was running a little bit of a different scheme in this practice than I have in past practices. I didn't really see as many big plays from the defensive side of the ball as I have in past practices and training camps. I will say that we did see that one nice interception jumping the ball by Patrick Shivers, and this could also be partially due to the fact that I was running a different you know, linebacker set than I'm used to. You know, I have these guys in different positions every every single time that I practice, just to test them out and things like that. And this time around, I was running Tiller and Lockhart at the cornerback position, so not having Bowen in there as a starting top two corner could be affecting things as well. So I think from the defensive side of the ball, not the most stellar practice in the world, but from the offensive side of the ball, I have a lot of hype around this offense for this team. I mean, Anthony Connell, you guys saw when we got down to the end zone, showed up. This guy has potential. He could be a really good receiver, and I'm hoping that that's the case. I'm hoping that that translates to the RFL, because, I mean, when you can have three basically elite receivers targeting defenses, all year long, that could be, incredible for our offense, not to mention the additions of Streeter, who you guys saw a lot of in practice, catching a lot of balls. So I think that he has a ton of potential as well. The offense just, I think, is at an all-time potential high, but like I said, potential is, potential can be a fool's gold. We have to turn that potential into real tangible results, and that's what we're looking to do this season. We're looking to take this team to the playoffs. One thing that I will note from, a position battle standpoint, I think Reggie Streeter has shown time after time that he deserves a shot at that starting position. I think that Matt Wheaton has showed why he deserves the number one running back spot, but I also believe that Vic Rage has showed why he deserves playing time in general. I know you guys didn't see any kickoff return footage in this practice/training camp and things like that, but I'm really looking forward to Vic Cage getting involved. Timmy Merritt has looked very good. He's looked consistent. The only times that I've noticed him missing receivers and things like that have been whenever he is essentially getting hit as he throwed, or when there's like four guys barreling down on him on a screenplay or something like that. Timmy Merritt, I don't know if you guys saw the same thing that I did, but he looks quick, he looks decisive, and he looks like he is putting the ball in the right spot for his receivers to catch it. I know that there was like one pass early on where he missed Vic Cage by a little bit, kind of overthrew the ball, and there were maybe a couple where he threw it out of the back of the end zone and things like that. But I would say, personally speaking, and this has been for every single practice we've had, every single scrimmage, every single training camp we've had, Timmy Merritt has looked consistent, and that is the important part for him. That could change when we get into the RFL season. That could change when weather gets involved and things like that, and schemes get involved. But Timmy Merritt has looked very good, and that's very important. Why are you anti-play action, Mitchie asks me. I am anti-play action because play action, the sacks that happen on play action, are completely uncontrollable. I am not opposed to play action plays from the shotgun. I am not opposed from play action plays that don't involve the quarterback rolling out. If I had that style of quarterback where he could take off and run if he notices that somebody's coming after him, then yes, I would be okay with pretty much any play action, I would think, because he might have a chance at getting away from those players. But Timmy Merritt, not being a mobile quarterback, can't get away from those automatic blitzers that are coming at you on a PA rollout or something like that. And ideally, I would take those out of the playbook. Obviously, we can't this season because, things didn't work out that way. But in the future, we're going to be looking to take those types of plays out of the playbook, because those things get Timmy Merritt sacked over and over and over again. And the cost-benefit relationship, it's not a positive one there. There's more cost there. You're getting sacked more times than you really are getting positive plays from that type of thing. You will occasionally get a positive play from that, but as you guys saw in practice, when we ran play action type of stuff, I would say probably 7 out of 10 times we were getting sacked or hit in the backfield, whereas maybe 3 times we were picking up 10 to 15 yards. So, the difference there, I'm the type of offense where I want my team moving the ball on every single play. I'm not a take a shot downfield and hope it works out type of coach. I'm a coach more like a Bill Belichick in the NFL. I'm a coach that wants my team to move the ball 5 to 10 yards every single play. That's what I care about. I care about moving the ball, moving the chains, and picking up points. That's what matters to me. I'm sleeping on his 75 speed. Oh yeah, 75 speed for Timmy Merritt. 92 agility and 92 change of direction. I mean, I guess he does. I guess he does have 92 agility, 92 change of direction. I don't know how much that factors into things, but boy, does he get sacked a lot on play action plays. That's kind of telling to me. that there's, not the ideal play set for him to be, rolling out and doing play action type of stuff. I will say he had a really nice quarterback sneak there. He had a really nice quarterback sneak in practice where he picked up 10 yards. He did take a tackle, though, so in the RFL he probably would have got hit and fumbled. So that's a negative. Do we have sliders for this type of football? You'd have to talk to Relocation Football League here in the channel. Smitty, that's the commissioner, and if you get into the discords and stuff, yeah, there are sliders for that. I believe they're still testing out sliders for this season and whatnot. I don't have a definite answer on that, but I know that if you look at Relocation Football League's channel, he has sliders out there for the past Madden. So Madden 20, there are definitely sliders out there for you guys. Thoughts on the offensive line from Mitchie? And I believe this will be maybe the last question I take. If anybody else has any more questions, drop them in the comment section now. But if not, I will be basically finishing up after this question. Thoughts on the O-line, thoughts on Muller-Moffitt. Okay, so this is an interesting topic because on run plays you guys saw, these guys a lot of the time get a pretty big push. A lot of these guys are really good at run blocking. What I will say is that McBride and Moffitt are pretty good pass blockers. What I will say is that I don't feel that we have a fantastic pass blocker on this team. I'm not taking anything away from Moffitt or McBride or even any of the guards or centers. I'm just saying that there are times where these guys give up a few more sacks than I would like them to, and I think it's because they're young. I mean, McBride is still only 24 years old, and we're looking to develop them still. But with that being said, I think that we have a very good, very well-rounded offensive line. Most of these guys, and actually I think all of these guys, are effective in both pass blocking and run blocking. I believe the only one that might struggle a little bit in pass blocking ratings would be Richard Porter. But Richard Porter's a center, and most of the time he's double teamed up on players, and last season I moved him to center strictly because he was a pretty much dedicated run blocker, and it worked out well for us. There were very few times that I ever saw him, getting caught out on pass blocking situations or anything like that. Now, with that being said, there's still some testing going on here, but I would say that McBride, Corona, and Moffitt are locked in for a long time with this offensive line. Porter's obviously 29 or 30 years old, so he's getting up there. We're going to be looking for somebody to take over that spot in the future. But at left guard, this is pretty much the only question mark for me at this point. I guess you could say there's a bit of a question mark as to, when and where I'm going to play Moffitt and McBride. I do have them flip left tackle, right tackle from time to time, especially depending on what pass rushers they're going up against, but I'm not going to say too much more than that. The left guard position, we're looking to develop Bronson Gray. He is 25 years old, so he's not going to develop crazy amounts, but he does have star, which means he's going to hold that rating for longer, and if we can turn him into a good, effective blocker, that's all the better for us. Am I anti-agile O-line and I'm power heavy? So this will be the last question that I take. I am not anti-agile O-line at all, but I do have a very definite a very definite mold for what I do with my offensive line. And outside of giving away too much info, I've talked about this on my YouTube channel multiple times, but right tackle, left tackle, I reserve primarily for pass blockers. Left tackle is my best pass blocker generally. Doesn't have to be the most agile offensive lineman in the world. I love agile linemen. If I could have all agile linemen, I would, but I haven't had the team long enough or made enough moves or had the ability to make moves to bring in agile linemen. I know that these guys aren't necessarily the most agile in the world, but I reserve my agile linemen for the guard positions because those are the positions where those players have to move. They have to block linebackers, they have to block defensive backs, and so my most agile linemen are going to be playing the guard positions. And that's pretty much a fundamental key for my team and the way that I run my offense. That is what I care about the most, is if I have agile linemen, they start at guard and then they fill in the other positions from there. Your center doesn't need to be agile. That's just a truth of Madden. They don't need to be agile because they're blocking a D tackle that's straight in front of them 99% of the time. They don't need to move. They don't need to go anywhere. They're locked up on a person 99% of the time. their agility doesn't really come into play. Pass blockers, a little bit, it does come into play because, you know, they're backing up. They have to try and block guys that are trying to run around them and things like that and trying to do finesse moves. So it does matter there. I'm not saying it doesn't. I just don't have those types of players to play there. And my most agile guys are definitely going to be playing the guard positions for me because that's where I need them the most. So with all that being said, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing this practice session, this training session, this inside look. Hopefully you guys enjoyed getting to meet the team. I know it was a long session, but I wanted to do this for you guys and get some more content out there. Make sure that you guys go check out the Relocation Football League YouTube channel. Make sure you guys go check out some of the other teams. Make sure you guys follow the social media pages, and especially for the London Bulldogs, because that's who I'm the coach of, guys. If you guys aren't following the London Bulldogs, go follow them on Twitter and Instagram. Instagram is where I think most of the followers are at, but if you guys can continue to help us grow, this league can turn into something great, and it already is something great, but it can turn into something fantastic. And look forward to seeing more of you guys in the Discord. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good night.